Following Tony Hawk's proving ground in late 2007, for the first time since the franchise's launch in '99, we didn't get our yearly Birdman adventure, as a sequel to EA's Skate was just around the corner in January of 2009. During this time, Activision replaced the mainstay developer Neversoft in exchange for Robomodo, and in late 2009, the studio would release their first game ever, Tony Hawk Ride. Now, I remember back in the day seeing this thing advertised with its motion control skateboard peripheral and honestly thinking it was a great idea. Until I noticed this thing was missing a certain trademarked eyeball logo, a seal of quality if you will. And without it, I wasn't interested. But now I'm wondering, was I too quick to judge? Let's find out. Now, given the fact that motion controls are fussy as fuck, and with all the horror stories we've heard about this thing, to give it as fair a chance as possible, we'll be spending today's video at home. Before we get started though, let's take a look at this board. In comparison to an actual skateboard, it's accurately similar in form and really solid. This thing is not a toy. When we reach the title screen, the first order of business is calibrating the controller. Tony Hawk walks us through this process, explaining the basics as we set everything up.
The sensors are first. Stand in one of these safe zones away from the side sensors. Okay, now make sure not to touch the board for the next 15 seconds. Here we go.
Oh shit.
This is probably the easiest thing you'll do all day. Almost there. Got it. We didn't quite get it. Let's try again.
Wait, what? Why tell me it worked just to make me do it again?
Okay, now
I guess my safe zone wasn't safe enough.
15 seconds. Here we go. Okay, now make sure not to touch the board until the countdown ends. Don't worry, the sensors are perfectly safe.
Are you sure? Because I don't like the way they're looking at me.
Almost there. Got it.
Oh, thank God.
We didn't quite get it. Let's try again.
What the fuck? God, do I have to leave the room or some shit? It doesn't matter what I do, what position I get myself into, this thing does not want to calibrate.
This is probably the easiest thing you'll do all day.
You're a fucking liar, Tony Hawk! Well, I've come to the conclusion that this thing just does not want to work. Luckily, I was prepared for this outcome, and just so happened to have a spare. We're gonna try the PS3 version this time. For some reason, this controller comes with an extra little dongle that you plug into the USB port. And wouldn't you know it, that shit calibrates first try. Well, now that we're in, let's stick with Pro Skater tradition and check out CAS mode. Unfortunately, it's back to sucking hard. All the body types and faces look like creatures from out of this world, and the clothing options are so limited. Robomodo has more brand merch in this game than any of the actual skate brands. What's up with that? We don't even get colour options, so as you can see, clearly it fails the squares test. At least you aren't restricted to just men for once, but that doesn't make up for everything else. So now, finally, it's time to step onto our board. Maybe I should put my pads on. We get a lengthy tutorial covering the absolute basics of navigation, ollies, and then into the various tricks. The sensors we rigorously calibrated detect hand motions for grabs and sweeping motions to push. We can flick the board in 2 different ways to perform flip tricks, and holy shit, it actually works fairly well. Of course, we're just in the early stages yet. While grinding, you can link different moves together much like the classic games, and manuals feel awesome. It's so much easier than I was expecting as we're led down a set path, so we don't have much control over navigation. There is a full control difficulty setting, but it's fucking bullshit, because you have to actually lean on the board like a real skateboard. It's incredibly easy to lose your balance, versus something like the Wii Fit balance board, which is flat, but still much easier to lean on for steering. Besides, this thing will not go where you want it to go, so don't even bother. We're just going to stick with the more casual on-rails mode.
Can you believe it? This skater just turned pro, and now look where we're at. This is a true Cinderella story. Just a few days ago, they were called up by P-Rod for a special mission in Southern California.
Oh dear! What have I gotten myself into? The first location of 6 is Southern California. Each of these locations contain 2 primary levels and 2 competitions. We're starting off in Venice Beach, a classic pro skater spot with challenge mode. Before every round, we have to select our stance. I skate goofy-footed, so I've got to rotate the board, tap start to confirm, and pop an ollie to begin. Beautiful. Challenge mode is maybe the most interesting thing this game has to offer. The goal is to complete 5 different trick sequences, making our way down a set line. They start off simple enough, but as the game progresses, they gradually up the ante with more specific tricks and rotations. The other 2 modes are fairly similar to each other: Trick and Speed. Trick is a single run through the current level trying to get the highest score. This is a lot less restrictive than challenge mode, as you're not trying to do anything specific. Speed is again a single run through the level, this time trying to get through as quickly as possible. The more familiar you get with the layout to some of these areas, you'll be able to find certain shortcuts and time freeze items of a greater value. Unfortunately, each of these sessions is broken up with lots of saving, loading, and reconfirming our stance. Yeah, I meant it when I said you need to do this every time. It feels like half my play session in each area is just standing around waiting for the game to happen. Not to mention, we get more of these weird pro clips. Why did they feel it necessary to blast them with these piss filters? It looks so bad, and the acting on some of these is the fuckest thing I've ever seen.
Holy 80s! Look at these people!
Look, man, watch yourself while you're pulling off these challenges. Accidents can happen.
Hey man, I'll meet you down Lower Wacker Drive. Let's skate.
Damn, these cutscenes are awful. Time to talk about the Vert mode. In Vert mode, we rotate the board to correspond with the half-pipe setup, and I think this is kind of cool. It's much easier to pull off some of the more impressive tricks getting more air, whether I actually know what I'm doing or not. The fast pace is the best part though, as you're constantly moving and pulling off tricks. My one complaint, however, is that the direction you're facing determines the nose and tail of the board. Makes sense, but that means I'm in switch stance for every other trick, so it's easy to get muddled and forget which way I'm supposed to pop the board. I always end up doing stalls because I can't get the timing down, and it really encourages the bullshit flip-flop play style. So with that said, it misses the mark.
Hey, just got a text. Mike V's waiting for you in New York.
Welcome to New York.
Jesus, the charisma on that lad is something else, isn't it? And really, that's all we do in this game. Travel to a new location, complete the various sessions, meet the pros, most of which are new to the series, watch their skate montages of course, and move on. The standout modes overall are Trick and Speed, as they're like playing a downhill level from any of the previous games, progressing to the bottom of the map pretending to know what we're doing. A few areas are actually enclosed and feel more like a normal pro skater level. The game doesn't have enough of these in my opinion, as it's fun looping through hitting long combo lines. For some reason, you can't hold your combos past the time limit, which fucking sucks, but I guess that's what free skate is for. Honestly, I think this is totally fine. What is everyone's problem with this again? Without the automatic navigation, I could see how this might get frustrating pretty pretty quick, but just cruising about carefree, popping off signature tricks and exploring the hidden parts of each map is really fun. Dude, I would have killed for this growing up.
Dude, just pulling sick tricks isn't gonna be enough. You want the dude or no dude? Remember, combos are key. Gotta throw a dude in there. Dude.
My issues with this game start and mostly end with challenge mode. It's so hit and miss. The earlier stages are fine, and even some of the later stages can be fairly simple once you wrap your head around some of the more complex motions. But the longer this goes on, I feel like the board gets less responsive. So many times I know I'm doing the correct motions, but either the game misreads an ollie for a manual, or for whatever reason just decides that I didn't do it correctly. You have to hit each trick perfectly to complete the sequence, and the worst part for me is, if you fuck up, say, the second trick, you have to keep playing, despite the fact it's impossible to complete the sequence. There is no option to reset, and the game certainly doesn't put you back at the start, so you're forced to keep moving unless you either bail or make it to the end. I can't even simply steer myself into a wall and bail because I'm on rails, so you just have to sit and watch as the skater rolls away. Other times, even being on rails doesn't keep you on track. The amount of times it'll drift off into a grind when I'm trying to manual, or just will not let me escape from a particular trick, makes this mode a struggle to get through. And it's such a shame because I enjoy the mode. It's the most substance this game has to offer, and it actually makes you start to feel like you're skating, with the cool spots and rotations, because when it works great in my experience. But when it doesn't work, it's because you're expected to perform these inhumanely precise actions, and objectives are made almost impossible because of it. This is why the free run modes are so much more enjoyable, because you can just dick about, and if you miss a trick, so what? There is a cool ramp coming up, so get ready to try again. It gets you pumped to pull off some wild stunts.
Build up the meter by pumping up the crowd. Keep them pumped.
Come on guys, get pumped! I've been hanging in there with this game as best as I possibly can. It seems each area has something really awesome and then really shit. One of the levels is super fun and the next one sucks. The first challenge might be garbage, but the next one is super inventive and genuinely interesting to master. But at a certain point, everything just drops off a cliff. For starters, the Germany area only has one level and one competition. Why? Fuck knows. Then we have to do this awful game of skate against Niger.
What's up? It's Niger Houston. Are you ready to skate?
Maybe you should be asking yourself if you're ready to skate, mate. The first trick you attempt goes flaccid real bloody quick. This shit goes under faster than anything I've ever seen before. A quick rundown for those who don't know how a game of skate works. Your opponent does a trick. If you fail to land that trick, you earn a letter. The first person to spell out skate loses. Simple in concept, but in practice, it's a whole other story. For starters, Niger can't land a damn thing. The moves I've been doing prior to this make me a better pro skater than he's ever been. When it comes my turn to set the trick, for some fuck all reason, the game decides to tell me what trick I need to do. And good luck doing it. I can't land any of these tricks, and he can't land them either. This wouldn't be a problem if I could just flick the damn thing how I wanted and choose my own trick. Like in Skate 2, this mode was a big part of that game, and they got it right. This goes on and on, with both of us failing to land simple tricks, despite clearly doing it right and the game deciding it wasn't good enough. And every single time we switch turns, the game has to stop, load, and I have to reconfigure my fucking stance. Every single fucking time. The only tricks we can seem to land consistently are ollies and nollies, and despite the fact that neither myself nor the AI can land these tricks the game is giving us, it still gives us the same tricks over and over again. It goes on for over 20 minutes. Yes, 20 minutes of this shit. And for what?
I can't believe you beat me.
Nice.
Nice! Thank Christ I'm up to the final stage. The game ends off in Tokyo with Toki Hawkio banging on about some game show. Was that what this was all about? I guess they forgot to mention literally anything about it through the rest of the game.
The Boom X2 TH vertical U-ramp, go! Drop in and let's see if you can handle my world. Now go!
Okay. Please don't hurt me. Part 1 of the finale is a Vert session doing massive airs and spines down these ramps. There is nothing all that involved or challenging here, just get a super high score and advance to the final challenge. This is where we get the stereotypical over-the-top Japanese game show stereotype level, and honestly, it's the blandest thing in the entire game. Remember the first time Tony Hawk went to Tokyo? It was arguably one of the best levels in the entire franchise. All the lines were tight and the secrets were awesome. It didn't need ninja training, a Godzilla room with tiny cars, or fucking rock, paper, scissors sections to be fun. This level tries way too hard to be epic and falls flat on its face because of it. What a shocker. Tony congratulates us, claiming that this experiment was a huge success as we made it all the way through, and then the credits roll. Newsflash, mate, just being able to beat your game does not make it a success. Let me be perfectly clear here. Despite everything, I honestly enjoyed my time with this game. I said it before and I'll say it again. When it works great. The board works as well as it needs to, all the main levels have a good flow to them, and I wish there was more of it to play. But that's where it stops. Unfortunately, the thing that hinders this game the most is not the hardware, but the software. A lot of the more important modes are far too restrictive for this device. When we have free reign to do as we please, there are no major game-breaking issues. It's when this game gets tunnel vision and desperately wants us to do things perfectly, by the book, no other way about it, that it stops being enjoyable. Sure, the fact that you're required to use the board doesn't help it either, but the gimmick works. Robomodo clearly just didn't know how to work the gimmick. And with the full control mode being such a mess alongside horrendous presentation comparable to a goddamn dumpster fire, this game isn't all it could be. Tony Hawk Ride gets 4 out of 10. I'm incredibly disappointed because I really wanted to like this game. When I finished up with the main career, all I had left to do was free skate, and that's what I did. I went back and replayed some of my favourite areas. I found this enjoyable enough to do that. Everything else, however, wasn't worth the time. But I do want to end this off on a positive, with the one aspect everyone can agree is top quality. The board is fucking solid. So you know what that means. It's time for a ride. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and share. I'm Square Eye Jack and I hope you have a great fucking day.
Thanks for watching.